Oklahoma is moving teachers up on the COVID-19 vaccine priority list. We'll hear from the State Commissioner of Health. How a Joplin dry ice manufacturers are responding to increased demand from hospitals. More top-level government officials attribute a recent cyber attack on federal agencies to Russia.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The state of Oklahoma gives more details on how and when teachers can get the COVID vaccine. This is KOAM News at 5. On Thursday, Governor Stitt announced that K through 12 teachers in the state were being moved up in priority. Instead of being in phase 3, they're now in phase 2. On Friday, the State Department of Health explained that pre-K teachers as well as support staff will be included as well. The department hopes to start vaccinating teachers toward the beginning of January.
We don't have our information yet on how many vaccines to expect in the month of January. We know that we're going to get enough vaccine for everybody in the state of Oklahoma. We just don't know how quickly it's going to be coming in.
The deputy commissioner says teachers in rural areas should be able to get their vaccines at several places, including their local health department or primary care physician. The state is going to give school districts guidance on who to have vaccinated first, but the final decision will be left to each district. Dry ice facilities like CK Ice in Joplin are fielding more calls from area health departments and hospitals. CK Ice mainly focuses on dry ice for frozen foods, but lately there's more interest in its uses for storing the Pfizer vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine must be stored at nearly 100 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. That's to protect the stability of the messenger RNA. If it gets too warm, the vaccine is no longer viable.
From a waste standpoint, we want to always have redundancy in storage to make sure that we would be able to manage ourselves through an issue with cold storage.
Mercy's equipped with an ultra-cold freezer that has the capability to maintain the Pfizer vaccine. Moderna's vaccine does not require this same ultra-cold storage. Doug Heddy joins us now with a first look at the weather. Hi, Doug.
Hey, Dallin. It turned out to be a pretty good weekend, and of course today was a very nice day as we made it all the way up to 60 degrees. Average high is 46 degrees. It's winter officially now, and it's actually going to warm up quite a bit over the next couple days. We do have a few mid and upper level clouds that are streaming through, but in general, it looks pretty good. We're going to be dry, at least for about the next 36 hours, and then we're going to start to see some changes with our next storm system, which will begin to roll in. The winds have been a little breezy at times today, kind of switching back out of the south, and that's going to warm us up even more as we head into the daytime hours on Tuesday. 54, 55 degrees across the region. We'll drop back through the 50s, 40s, down to about 37. Later on tonight, of course, we're going to look into the holiday here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Todd. Hospitals around the country are receiving their first shipments of a second coronavirus vaccine today, made by the drug company Moderna. Nearly 6 million doses of the newly approved vaccine are on their way to 3,400 destinations across the country. The Treasury Secretary says millions of Americans could begin to see stimulus payments as soon as next week, with Congress expected to pass a coronavirus bill today. The $900 billion relief package is part of a larger bill to fund the federal government through September of 2021. The measure includes $600 direct stimulus payments to Americans making less than $75,000 a year and for each of their dependents. It also includes $300 per week in federal unemployment benefits over the next 10 weeks. A growing number of cybersecurity experts and the Secretary of State blame Russia for a massive hack that infiltrated more than 40 U.S. government agencies. President Trump has not accepted that, and so far he has taken no action in response, instead suggesting China is to blame. Reporter Paula Reed is at the White House.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo this weekend attributed a massive cybersecurity breach to the Kremlin.
I think it's the case that now we can say pretty clearly that it was the Russians that engaged in this activity.
But just hours later, President Trump downplayed the severity of the incident and blamed China, tweeting, "There could also have been a hit on our ridiculous voting machines during the election." president's unsubstantiated theory defies the conclusions of experts inside and outside the government. Senator Mitt Romney said the president has a blind spot when it comes to Russia.
He doesn't want to recognize Russia as the problem they are and the extraordinarily bad actor they are on the world stage.
President-elect Joe Biden's chief of staff signaled the incoming administration could respond with its own offensive cyber actions.
Not just sanctions, it's also steps and things we could do to degrade the capacity of foreign actors to repeat this sort of attack.
But the current White House seems focused on fighting the settled results of the 2020 election. On Sunday, the Trump campaign filed an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court to reverse cases by Pennsylvania's highest court that changed mail-in ballot laws.
President-elect Biden's team has declined to comment on that Supreme Court appeal. Paula Reed, CBS News, the White House.
Today, outgoing U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr said he agreed it appears Russia was behind the hack. Still had a stem cell transplant for a Joplin woman dealing with cancer and overcoming the blues during long winter nights. Those stories just ahead in Healthwatch. Joplin resident Jan Johnson was diagnosed with an acute form of leukemia in 2007. She had been in remission until the cancer returned earlier this year. After several rounds of intensive radiation therapy, the cancer went back into remission, and Johnson was scheduled for a stem cell transplant. She received that transplant on Thursday at SSM Health's St. Louis University campus. Johnson says now she has 2 birthdays.
Well, it's just kind of like I have a new life, because if I wouldn't have gotten, the new transplant, I wouldn't have lived. So it's kind of like you're reborn again.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear more from Johnson about her experience and from her doctor on that procedure. Every winter, millions of Americans struggle with seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD. But this year, in the midst of a global pandemic, mental health advocates worry seasonal depression could take a harsher toll. Naomi Ruckham explains the risks and how to deal with the disorder during this especially dark winter.
Gabrielle Starr was diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder in her late teens.
When I didn't have to go to class in college, I was just in my bed. I wasn't working out. I would eat at really weird hours. I wasn't sleeping well.
Her symptoms of depression escalate as the season starts to change.
The first month, literally, of daylight savings time being over, my body is totally out of whack.
Doctors are concerned with the pandemic already impacting mental health. Seasonal affective disorder could mean an even darker winter than usual for many. Dr. Craig Sawchuk is a clinical psychologist at Mayo Clinic.
It makes it easier to forge through difficult times when you have a reliable light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, that light keeps getting pushed further back.
Add unemployment or a sick family member to the mix, and that could make even more people vulnerable to seasonal depression.
You may have folks operating at a little bit more of a deficit, heading into this time of year because of social distancing and really doing the right things from a public health standpoint, but they may already be in more of an isolation kind of mode.
Experts say staying active can help, maintaining a healthy diet, treating with therapy and medication, and finding a good source of light, getting outside, or investing in a special lamp. Gabrielle takes vitamin D, meditates, and practices yoga.
It makes a huge difference in my day. It's sometimes really hard to force myself to do it, but I always feel better.
She also uses an alarm clock that mimics the rising sun. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
To get through this season, experts recommend sticking to a routine as much as possible and connecting with loved ones through video chat until the pandemic is over. Older patients who get in shape before elective surgery may be able to counteract the effects of post-op bed rest with the proper amount of training. Researchers at the University of Bingham found short-term rehabilitation strength exercises did not adequately prevent muscle loss. Instead, they recommend longer-term strength training to protect older muscle, as well as aerobic exercise and a protein-rich diet. Excessive screen time for children tops the list of parents' concerns during this pandemic. A new poll from Michigan Medicine shows the highest ranking concerns involving emotional and physical health are associated with lifestyle changes during the pandemic. But among Black parents surveyed, the top concern was racism, followed by the COVID-19 virus itself. Doug is up next with a complete look at the forecast and a little bit later details on a lean cuisine recall because of plastic contamination during packaging.
Well, it definitely started out as a really good week for us this week. We had a pretty good weekend. Temperatures were warming up through the 50s. Today we hit 60 degrees during the afternoon, plenty of sunshine, so really no complaints there. In fact, temperatures still look good. It's 58 in Chanute, 55 in Welch, Miami at 54, 55 in Pittsburgh. Neosho is checking in at 54 degrees. And the winds have been a little breezy at times, but they're switching out of the south, and that's going to help us warm up even more by the time we head into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Looks good. We're looking from the station off toward the south and a jaunt toward the east. 54 west-southwest winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 45%. Through the evening hours, we're going to drop back through the 50s, 40s. Eventually, we'll bottom out at about 37 degrees, so it won't be as cold as what we have seen over the past couple nights, but it looks good. There's not too much going on, just a few mid and upper level clouds, which are streaming through, but most of the central plains really shaping up pretty good. Our next storm system is brewing out to the west. You can see it out across the Pacific Northwest, and this will start to affect us late tomorrow night and then into Wednesday, but ahead of it, we're going to have a really nice Tuesday as our temperatures are really going to warm up as we work into tomorrow afternoon. For us tonight, mid-30s for overnight lows. So if we go ahead and zoom in, 37 if you're getting up early. It's going to be really windy. We're going to have south winds at 15 to 25 ahead of this next storm system. But look at our temps, 60 by noon, all the way up to 66 by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon. So it is going to be breezy, but Tuesday is going to be a fantastic day across the entire four-state area. Then tomorrow night, and then heading into Wednesday, we'll start to see some changes. Clouds will increase tomorrow night. Our temperatures are going to stay fairly warm. We're only going to drop back into lower 50s. We'll have a strong southerly wind. Here's Wednesday morning. We'll start to get some light showers developing. But again, these are mainly going to be along and south of Interstate 44, very similar to what we had with our last storm system late last week. Now, at the same time, a cold front's going to roll through. So the rain will be out of here by mid to late morning on Wednesday, but our temperatures will drop from the 50s into the 40s. So most of the day on Wednesday, we're going to be sitting into the 40s. So it's going to be turning colder, and then we'll drop. By the time we head into Thursday morning, which of course is Christmas Eve, we're going to start the day into the mid-20s, but we're just not really going to warm up. On Christmas Eve itself, we're only going to warm up into the mid-30s. So we're not going to have a white Christmas, but it's going to be fairly chilly across the region. 66 tomorrow, 53 and dropping on Wednesday. Christmas Eve, of course, Thursday, 37 degrees for a high. But if you're doing anything on Christmas Eve, we're going to be dry. It's just going to be chilly. 32 at 6, 27 by 8, and we'll drop back to about 23 degrees by the time we head into the late evening hours on Thursday evening. Christmas Day looks okay, 44, and then a chance for a few showers rolling in by Sunday.
Put an extra log on the fire on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
It'll be a nice night to stay inside with the family.
You bet. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, a spike in online shopping leads to a shipping backlog for some toys. First, though, we honor a local member of the armed forces. Eddie Blunk joined the U.S. Army in 2007. The Pitcher, Oklahoma native was stationed in Kuwait and Iraq, and we salute Specialist Eddie Blunk, a four-state hero. Need to check your freezer for lean cuisine. Nestle is recalling 100,000 pounds of the frozen meals because some packages might be contaminated with small bits of hard white plastic. The recall is for the baked chicken meal, specifically the white meat chicken with stuffing, red skin, mashed potatoes, and gravy, with a best before date of October 2021. No injuries have been reported. More than 1 million people were screened by the TSA at airports on both Friday and Saturday, even as coronavirus infection rates continue to surge. It's the first time since the pandemic began that there were 2 consecutive days of more than 1 million screened. Still, Saturday's volume was down nearly 60% compared to the same time last year. Every year at Christmas, some of the most popular toys sell out. This year, there's a spike in online shopping, which is leading to a shipping backlog from overseas suppliers. Anna Werner reports.
Just how far will someone go to find a PlayStation 5 video gaming console? Ask mom Christina DeJesus of Tampa, who wants one for her 8-year-old son.
Here I go on a mission. I've tried going to the stores, I've waited in long lines, and it's just been, it's impossible.
Both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are in high demand, along with many other holiday toys. Compounding the problem, shipping delays. Many toys are likely sitting in containers on ships like these, sent from China and waiting up to 2 days to be unloaded at the overflowing port of Los Angeles.
86% of the world's toys are made in China.
Industry expert Richard Gottlieb consults for toy companies around the globe.
We've been having trouble the last few months getting containers to put the toys in and ship them from China. And that is largely due to the fact that there was a sudden surge in demand for toys and other consumer products. So there was a lot of catching up to do. And when you put all that together, it's an imperfect storm.
It's a storm that may even have snared a toddler.
Coco Melon musical bedtime JJ doll.
Or at least a toddler doll. The JJ doll based on a character in this Coco Melon cartoon.
Good morning.
The series has 100 million followers on YouTube, and its new doll is selling out.
Yeah, they love these.
Rebecca Ray of Oklahoma wanted one for her 1-year-old grandson.
And every time I found one online for my grandson, it was always sold out.
Ray scoured sales and the internet and wound up buying 8 of the hard-to-locate dolls, paying $40 a piece, double the list price of $19.99 for most of them.
Have a good day.
She now plans to keep 2 for her grandkids, and the 6 others, she's giving them away for free to strangers.
You've kind of become Santa Claus here.
Yes and no. We do it every year.
The family taught their children it truly was better to give than to receive, even JJ dolls. Anna Werner, CBS News, Berkeley, California.
One person who received one of those dolls free of charge from the Rays says she plans to pay it forward by buying gifts for the elderly in nursing homes who can't see their families this year. Final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on the increased demand for dry ice from a local manufacturer. Plus, the city of Joplin updates its COVID-19 vaccine distribution plans. And we're going to hear more from a Joplin woman who received a stem cell transplant in her battle with leukemia. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now at 9 tonight, be sure to tune in to our sister station, Fox 14, for our Feed the Four States telethon. Each year we ask you to donate non-perishable food items or money to buy food for area food banks. These donations are especially important during this pandemic.
Huge every year, but this year especially. In 2020, we've just seen a greater need than we have in years past. And so any ways in which the community can be rallied to help meet that need is incredible.
Again, you can make monetary donations by calling tonight during KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. You can also donate on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Let's check back in with Doug for a final look at the weather.
All right, Dow, it looks pretty good for us tonight. We're going to have clear skies. We'll drop back mid-30s. It is going to be cold across the region, but we really warm up tomorrow. Partly sunny skies, 66. It is going to be a little windy. We are going to get a cold front in here on Wednesday, so showers will start to increase, especially Wednesday morning.
All right, Doug, we'll see you at 6. Thank you for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you back here at 6. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.